What is up? I'm Miguel Antonio, and you are listening to the Live and Create podcast. It's where I interview artists and entrepreneurs about what it means to live a great life and create great things. And before we jump into the podcast, I'd love for you to check out my band, Run With It. Here's a clip from our song, Night Watch.
Late nights, losing time, the cars, the trains, the flashing lights fade right in the line. When they let me in, I dance all night. Just one taste, gonna kill the pain. Hey, 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 just one taste. Just one taste, all it's gonna take. Hey, 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 just one taste. I'm on the night watch, baby, run till the sun. I'm on the night watch, baby, run until the sun comes up.
Like what you heard, make sure you check us out at Run With It Band, at Run With It Band, everywhere you follow people at, or go to runwithitband.net. It'll take you to all the different links you want to go to, and there'll be a little button you can click for booking information. Now for today's podcast.
The Live and Create podcast.
So you're out in LA, right? Very cool. That's awesome. Are you originally from California or moved there for the industry?
I was born here.
Okay.
Haven't lived here my entire life. My parents are in Orange County, but yeah, been here for 14 years now, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. Yeah, it's 2025. Yeah.
Fully home
14
at that point.
Huh?
Fully home in that regard.
Yeah. At this point, I'm too much LA. Too LA.
Too much LA.
Yeah.
What is too much? So I live in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm like in the Midwest. I've been out there on tours and stuff, and I love California. But so what does too much LA mean? Help me understand that.
It means that the bright lights and big city cloud that you have when you first move here and all the, glam and glitz is long gone. Like the veil is lifted.
You're like, I've seen it for,
And
I've
now
seen
you
the
just,
shit.
You just hate everything, the traffic, the crime.
I remember, I think I was in Riverside. I was crashing at a friend's house. I was on a tour out there and I had to go somewhere. It was like 20 miles away. And I swear to God, it said 2 hours. Like,
Yep.
I texted my wife. I was like, this is fucking nuts. This is crazy. So I could see how that would wear on you real quick.
It does. Yeah.
You're just over it.
Over it. Yeah.
A friend of mine is a comedian out there. And he said what he told me. He's like, yo, this is what LA is. There is this woman I know who won like some radio thing where she got a free, like really nice SUV, like an Escalade or something. And he goes, and she couldn't afford an apartment. So she just lived out of this like Escalade in LA. Like she's homeless with a like Escalade.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. And then you have to consider the insurance, the car insurance on that Escalade. And that's not affordable either.
Probably wasn't insured is what I'm guessing.
Yeah,
and
no,
they probably
definitely
did not
not.
pay taxes. Yeah.
No,
it was an
absolutely not.
adventure on there.
Yeah.
Now, checking out your guys' band, one of the biggest things, like music sounds awesome. I definitely want to dive into the writing and process. And it's Jack, right? Is your other member, right?
Yes.
I want to definitely dive into that. But I was also struck by just the visuals, like what you guys have created, the videos and everything. And then I noticed in your email, we were emailing back that you're also like in the film industry as well, right?
Yeah.
It's a key costume. Am I getting that? What's the right? Is that the right
Key
title?
costumer. Yep. That's
key costumer. Okay. Very
that's
cool.
the title. Yeah.
And I'm just curious, is that where the visuals come from? Are you directing those? Or are you helping that come to life?
For sure. Yeah. Cause I'm in the industry, I have a very firm grasp on what it takes to make a music video and like the cost and what you need to really like take it to the next level. And it definitely helps. Absolutely. Having
That's
that
awesome.
background, but
So
also being a cinephile growing up, like always loved movies. So that helps too, and I was doing another podcast and I had an epiphany where I was like, oh yeah, I know why I love to make like crazy storytelling music videos that are fun is because, I was the MTV generation. I grew up watching the craziest music videos, Michael Jackson Thriller
Yeah.
and Tom Petty's Cake Cutting Alice in Wonderland video. I can't remember what song that was, but yeah. So that's just always been something where it was like, okay, if you're going to be a musician, your music videos better be top tier, great storytelling, not just a band playing on a big stage,
Well, it's funny you say that because we just realized as a band, I feel like we're good at the writing, we're good at the production, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Live performance on it. Our music videos have always sucked. They've been terrible. That's another reason when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, why can't we have music videos like this? This is amazing.
You can.
And I told them, I was like, we were talking about shooting a music video. Is like, if I see another music video of a band being like, here's me playing in 4 different places, I'm going to lose my mind, because it's like, I do love the storytelling ones, and we just haven't figured out how to do it well. For you, are you hiring other people? Are you directing it, or a little bit of both?
Yeah, it's a
What's that
collab. We
process
we
look
have
like?
a wonderful friend named Ron Geffen who does all our music videos. He's just incredible at what he does. He has all the equipment. So him, myself, and Jack, we all 3 get together usually and figure out what we want to do and how we want to do this music video. I figure out all the logistics, the location, the costumes. He brings all of the film equipment, the lights. He does all the editing.
That's nice.
And it's just a great harmonious relationship where we make this stuff happen.
Yeah. Now, so the most recent one, did you guys storyboard this out, like do the full process with it?
No, and that's what's really fun too, is we kind of storyboard, but we also don't. We kind of just go with an idea. We get there and we're like, okay, what are we going to do at this part? And it kind of just comes up on the spot.
Nice.
We were like, what are we going to do for that quiet breakdown part? And I was like, I don't know. And then we had the water spray bottle that our janitor, who's also our producer, Tom Chandler, wears on his costume as the creepy janitor. And
That part of the
Ron
video
was
is
like, let's
fucking, it's
lightly
hilarious.
mist everyone. Yeah, let's lightly mist everyone so we, look sweaty, right?
Right.
Except I brought like the crazy water bottle that doesn't have the nice misty setting. It has the like, I squirt you and you're just wet.
Right.
So we just came up on the spot with, oh, wait, okay, this is the rave water that changes everyone in the final moment. So
that was all
everyone.
improv.
Yeah, that was
basically at that
completely
point.
on the spot. So the
That's
prop actually
hilarious.
guided the story.
The way the video was, I just imagine you guys have crafted it all the way to that moment anyways. So that's funny to hear that
Yeah.
it was improv. Well,
Yeah.
it sounds similar to just like collaborative songwriting as well, where you're like
Mhm.
in a room, like, what are we going to do now? Well, the bridge is happening. Gotta do a thing. Like, what are we going to do?
Absolutely.
And explore.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Just hearing that in general inspires me to I really want us to figure out how to do some good music videos.
Yeah, just find a cool local director that knows his stuff with cameras and lighting and come up with some crazy, weird story. And honestly, like the rest kind of always just works. Like it always fits and it'll work in your budget. And Amazon is a great place to shop for things that are cheap.
Well, and so a lot of our music is very it's like, for a lack of a better word, inspirational. I don't like that word because it comes with like baggage that we're not, but it's like very like serious and like epic kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But we've talked about doing music videos that are very like, kind of like, how Foo Fighters, like they just do like, most of their videos are like them just doing dumb shit while they're
Yeah.
playing this really intense like rock song.
Yeah.
We're like, why don't we go that direction just to have fun with it?
Yeah,
So,
no, I mean, the weirder the better, honestly. Like the weirder you get, the more response your music video has. I just watched a Mammoth's new video, Wolf Van Halen, Eddie Van
Okay.
Halen's son. Oh, he has a solo project.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him, but I haven't seen the video.
Oh, yeah.
on
So
that,
the latest one, he had Robert Rodriguez direct it.
Okay, I'm not familiar with him either.
Oh,
You're
From
educating
Dusk
me.
Till Dawn.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he directed it, and then he had Greg Nicotero also. It's really cute. It's like an homage to Thriller. A lot of monsters, very funny. Just like a well-made music video where you're like, that was fun.
That's awesome. There is a music video we saw recently. Are you familiar with Tech Nine at all? You know who that is? He's a rapper.
The name sounds familiar.
He's a Kansas City guy, but he's probably one of the biggest like underground rappers ever. And
Okay.
him and Falling in Reverse did a
Oh,
song
yes.
together called Ronald. Have you seen
Okay.
this?
No.
It is insane. Like my guitarist comes into a writing session. He's like, everyone stop what you're doing. You're sitting down and you're watching this music. And we're all just like, the whole time your eyes are like this. And then another thing happens. You're like, oh shit. And you're like, oh, and it just, that's the kind of, yeah, check it out. It's called Ronald, but it's Falling in Reverse in Tech Nine,
Okay,
which
cool.
is being from Kansas City.
I will.
That's some Kansas City love in there. It's a wild video. You said that you love films. What are some of the films that really stick out to you?
I mean, well, I mostly love the horror genre and the thriller genre. So, like for me, Silence of the Lambs is one of the best movies, and just because of the storytelling, I love Quentin Tarantino. I love just anything that's like different and out there. All of the oh gosh, why am I forgetting his name right now? I'm forgetting his name. The guy
That
that
happens though,
directed.
right?
Yeah, it
Someone
does.
asks you and you're like, all of it just went away. Are
Ari
you
Aster.
Ari Aster?
Yeah, he directed Midsummer and Hereditary.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
24 in general, like their
yes.
style is like,
They're good.
I feel like if it's an A24 movie, we're just going to go see it because
Yeah,
it's going to be wild, you know?
yeah. They definitely
Have
do
you seen,
good films.
I don't know if, as much as you like movies, I wonder if you would know this because most people don't know this one. Have you seen a movie called Rubber, which is a killer
The
tire?
Tire. I haven't watched it, but I have heard of it.
It is so fucking ridiculous, but there's something about it that I love. And like, yeah, I've only met like maybe 2 or 3 other people who have even like heard of it. I
Yeah.
just sat there in amazement the whole day. I was like, this is a killer tire. What
A
is
Killer
happening?
Tire. Yeah, I
And I
haven't
had to
been
watch
able
it
to.
all the way through.
Oh yeah, I haven't been able to bring myself to watch it, but I do know about
Grab
it.
a big
And
bottle of wine and lock yourself in. You're like, here we go.
sounds good.
I would say, I don't know if you would put it in subgenre, but 28 Days Later is probably one of my
Yes.
favorite.
Yeah, Danny Boyle. Oh yeah,
It
amazing,
is.
amazing director. Yeah, I mean, Guy Ritchie too, amazing director. Yeah, it's like certain directors just have it. Like they know what they're doing. They're amazing storytellers. They clearly know how to create a great movie from start to finish. Yeah.
Now, with your passion for film, how does that enter in beyond music video? Like, how does it enter into your music world, into the songwriting, into the performance?
I mean, songwriting wise, I'm always creating a story behind every song, like the characters and what like this character would say to the other character, like creating the world around the song, almost like a little script in a way. So that's how like I go into my songwriting process, um, telling a story from start to finish. Obviously, with lyrics, you want them repetitive so people sing along. You don't want to like every line is different,
Right.
and so you have to like come up with the shortest story ever and try to paint the picture in 3
You got
minutes.
20 words or less to paint an
Yeah,
entire
kind
movie.
of, but
Good luck.
that's how. Yeah, exactly. I try to do that with my songwriting, and as far as performing, yeah, we like to put on a show. We don't want to bore people. We want people to be like, "Whoa, that was amazing!" So we always all bring everything to our shows, and we're working on getting our visuals behind us going. We have a lot of visuals. It's just finding like the right place it'll work for. So
Right. Now, like, are you touring with like a full LED screen in that regard? Or are you looking for a
no,
place that has that tech already?
exactly. Yeah,
I gotcha.
someone that has it where we can show stuff.
Yeah. There's a DJ. He does like drumming and DJ stuff. It's really cool. That there's a festival here in the city is called Boulevardia. There's like big festival. They bring in acts, all this kind of stuff, and a lot of local acts as well. But he had a screen down front of the stage that was synced to another screen in the back, and then he had like a DJ booth. All of them were like synced together but moving. I was like, dude, I want that. Like, let's go. And then he's like, yeah, it's $1,000 per panel. And like, how many panels? And you start adding. I'm
Oh
like,
my God.
we're going to have to wait at
Yikes.
some point. But
Yeah. Every time I go to NAM, I always check out the booth where it's like, here's what you can do to up your stage performance. Like, here's all the new technology. And I'm always like, geez, these price tags. Like, this is where
like,
you need.
We would be the biggest rock band in the world if we just had 100K. right now.
Yeah, yeah, just to put into your stage show. Yeah, that's where you need Big Daddy record label to come in
Yeah,
for sure.
and then they ask for everything at the end in that regard.
Plus interest. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. As far as the live show goes, what
Mhm,
are some of the things that you guys are implementing though? Like obviously we don't get LED screens just yet.
mhm.
Down the road though, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah, when you're planning your live show,
Yeah.
what are you doing as far as creating that story and then engaging the audience? What are your strategies?
The song list order is very important. You want to make sure every song flows into one another. We really don't like to have breaks in between songs. We like to go right into another, like very minimal talking. We do not want to be boring our audiences with backstories. I've learned my lesson too many times where you start just talking and ranting and then you're like, that didn't even make any sense. And now I'm
Like where the
embarrassed.
fuck did
Like,
everyone just go? Where
yeah,
what
yeah. So, just how y'all doing? Here's our next song. Let's go. Keep the energy up. Keep the audience engaged. Absolutely.
nice.
Super important.
I love that aspect too for us where it's like we always just want that show to keep going. Even if it's like a lighter loop and then we're bringing it into like a synth part or something that's can keep it going. Cause yeah, when you see a band, there's only one band I've seen that stopped in between every song and I still loved it was Black Keys.
Okay.
They literally would just bang out a like 2.5 minute song and then like stop. Next song stop. But it was just so hyped. I was like,
It
maybe it's
worked.
just because I was like, I got to see the Black Keys. This is cool. I don't know. But yeah, typically I love when you keep things rolling. Now it's so you and Jack are the core. Do you bring other members like for live shows?
Yeah, we have our hired guns that we
Gotcha.
use for our shows, for our live shows that are our live band family, if you
Live
will.
band family. Is
Yeah.
it kind of a pool of artists that you bring in, or do you have some of your
No,
set
we
folks?
have our like go-tos that we always use. And then obviously if they can't do the show, we'll have to find a sub. But yeah, we have our us band and then we have the live band. So people know like these people, they're in our band. They do the live performances with us.
Now, are you guys touring a lot, like going out a lot, keeping it local right now?
Right. Yeah, we're local, but we are hopefully in this next year going to actually start getting out there and doing some pretty cool stuff. We just signed with a label that helps with tour management. So,
Nice.
yeah,
Very cool. Is
hopefully
that's
some cool
pretty
stuff.
fresh, or have you already been working with them a bit?
Brand new.
Brand new. Okay.
Just this week. So,
So you're stepping right in it. I had
yeah.
a whole slew of other questions because I'm like, I'm curious about this. What are they doing for you guys? How's it working? But
Yeah.
you don't know a whole lot at this
Nope.
point? No?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm in
I'll
that
call you back in like 6
big
months.
eyes, like, ooh, let's see what happens.
Well, and I know some friends. Have you heard of a band called Post Sex Nachos?
No, but that's a
Check them
funny
out.
name.
They are Post Sex Nachos. Great name. One,
Yeah.
two, great dudes. Three, fucking great music, and their live show is just wild and great. But they work with somebody who does like specific booking and helping routing them. And I've watched their career just continue to grow and continue to
Cool.
like. I think
Do
they
you know
work with a
who?
management company and a booking
Yeah.
agency right now that's
Okay.
doing that. So
Yeah.
that's really. Are they? Do you know if they're focused on clubs, festivals?
They have a lot of festival connections. You mentioned a cruise,
Nice.
and what else did he mention? There was one other thing that I was like, yeah, I can't remember.
Like that sounds great too.
Yeah,
What was it? I
I
don't
was like,
remember.
all of it. Yeah, it's just like I feel like tour like the touring and getting out there to other states is great. The For me, I think the new thing is just getting on the festivals as a smaller band, and it seems that that gets you a pretty decent fan base right away, and gets you known. Even like smaller rock festivals, like any of it, it's just because everything's all there for you.
Right.
So it's like you can check out some new bands, and I mean, I love going to festivals too, and seeing new bands that I haven't heard of. You're like, oh, that's great. Now I'm a new fan. So I feel like that is definitely like a great way for bands to get out there and get exposed. So
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense because, yeah, I think one thing that's great about going to a festival is you can just kind of sample all these different stages that are going. There was, I think it was like Warp Tour or something where Devil Wears Prada. Are you familiar with them? at all. Incredible band.
Another great
And
name.
yeah, it is a great name.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe. Are you familiar with Attack at all?
It
Do you know?
sounds familiar.
But both of them are in that same realm where it's very heavy, but then they like switch into this like pop punk thing all of a
Okay.
sudden. Then they'll have like hip hop beats underneath. It's wild music. I love it. But yeah, that's where the first time I saw that, I was like, whoa, these guys, what are these guys? You know? And that makes a lot of sense. And it's a reminder for me as we're working on getting back on the road as well. But I don't think the festivals have been part of my strategy, and maybe they should be.
They should be.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Sorry, I'm my brain's like making notes on that because we do like festivals. We're playing like fairs festival, like we're doing like a state fair, but not like a rock festival. Like this one's like kind of like a city
fairs
festival.
are great too. Yeah.
Yeah,
That definitely gets you.
but specifically looking at like those kind of rock festivals would be kind of cool too.
Yeah, and like it definitely seems like the new thing is cruises.
Okay.
Rock cruises. That seems
I guess
to be
because
like
everyone's like on a
the
boat.
new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, another contained where you're like, oh, I'll check out this little band, but I'm here to see whoever the headliner is on the cruise.
I love it. You're going to add a bunch of things on my list. Like, okay, you need to check into this, check into this. When you guys are creating and working, so reading your bio, it sounds like you guys, did you meet in the scene or did you meet in the film industry? Like, how did you and Jack first like
we
connect?
met through Craigslist of all places.
Really?
Back then, Craigslist was like where you found everything: bands, instruments, apartments. So I just moved back to LA and I was like, I need to find a band. And I saw this Craigslist ad and he was on the other side of it. So we met that way.
Nice.
In this weird 80s cover band, left that and then started Plastic Rhino.
So you started in a 80s cover band and
Yeah.
then you ended up doing an 80s themed music video.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It all comes full circle.
When you guys first met, what was it that clicked for you guys that said where it's like, ooh, we should collaborate. We should build this thing together.
We just had the similar band love for the certain bands at the time vibe. And it was like, I love what these guys are doing. I love what these guys are doing. We started going to shows and then we were like, okay, what is our original band going to be? What's our sound going to be? And our very, very first EP was definitely like trial and error, trying to figure out, because I was raised from a prog rock standpoint and was like very late to the metal scene. And he was all metal.
You're like,
metal.
You guys are staring at each other in the writing room. Like,
so yeah. So I was like, it'd be cool to do this here. And he's like, well, how does that make sense to this? And I'm like, oh yeah, like different musical upbringing. So our first EP was definitely like trial and error, like trying different things. And then second EP is where we started working with Tom Chandler. And he was really great about kind of honing our ideas in to like one sound. So then it was like more like the 90s female fronted bands. And then it's just kind of progressed as our music tastes have changed, as the rock scene, new soundscape has changed. You know, obviously you want to fit into what's popular right now, but also kind of create your own vibe to it. So that's what we're always chasing. Yeah.
Yeah. We're the previous guest I had on, he works in like the sync licensing world and creating music. And we were just talking about that concept of trying, he equated it to a chair where it's like, if kind of like music, like you want to have these certain things that help you fit into whatever is happening, but you also want to like make it your own. Like, how do you uphold those both? And that's what we were talking about. I was like, it's like a chair. If someone buys a chair, they want 4 legs. It's got to hold them up. Like it has these very clear functions. And if you deviate from that, it's not a fucking chair. Like it's like, but you can use all sorts of materials. You could use plastic, metal, that, you know, you could carve out like intricate little things. You can make it your own, but you still have to have like these things that make sense for what you're doing, you know,
Absolutely.
to connect. And so, yeah, I get that. When you guys are writing like together, what does that process look like? What are some of the things that you've learned to help that collaboration process?
Now it's very easy because we've been together for so long. It's just kind of like I get an idea, he gets an idea, we bring each other ideas, and then it's literally just let's make a song out of this idea, see if it's a good song, see if it works, and then we'll bring it to our producers and just be like, here's our new song idea. A lot of it is me singing into my microphone recorder. I seem to get like the best ideas too, like right when I wake up. So I'll literally be standing in
Nice.
the kitchen, recording all these ideas, drinking my coffee, or in the car, which both Jack and Tom have expressed distaste for, because like there was one time where it was actually Take It All's idea and I'm singing it in the car and I didn't realize I had my turn signal on.
So it's just this offbeat.
It was
Fucking
this
clicking.
offbeat, and they're like, and that's the one I sent to them, and they're like, this is so hard to figure out. Why did you, like, why? I'm like,
That's
oh,
amazing.
sorry. Good to know for next time. Don't have the turn signal.
You're like, no, it's this polyrhythm thing that you
Yeah.
guys just, it's above your like head. You
Yeah,
gotta
you guys
get with
clearly
it.
can't figure this out. It's on the
My
5, okay?
one of the producers we worked with in the past, he's done most of our music. We're transitioning to self-producing, but the way we used to work with it is I would just send a bunch of songs to him, like 60 songs, and he would like sift through it and then like help craft things. And
Okay.
but he would laugh. Like one time I sent him a whole folder of songs. And he like calls me. He's like, bro, your recordings are ridiculous. He's like, and I love it because I can actually like, at the same time, I can tell where you're at. I know when you're at home because I hear kids scream. I have 4 boys. He's like, I
Wow.
hear kids screaming in the background, like just losing their mind. And you don't seem to care. Like you're just playing your song. And I'm like, yeah, you just tune them out. And he's like, I can tell when you're on tour and you're writing because all I hear is like, and then the guys like talking shit to each other in the van while I'm trying to like sing.
Too funny.
But yeah, that I could see how a turn signal will really mess up the
Yeah.
idea in that regard.
Yeah. And I have 2 dogs, and I don't know if you're picking them up. They're very grumbly. Now they finally calm down, but
That's how we've had quite a few dogs jump into the podcast at some point.
They definitely like to do that. Just be like, we're here too. They're always somehow in the background too, like a bark or the little chain.
When you guys first started writing, because it sounds like you guys got your process. When you first started writing, was there a moment where you're like, oh, we need to switch things up, or we need to bring in this process? Like, were there any things you guys had to work out to find that flow?
Yeah, we were awful at creating songs. We didn't quite understand I think a lot of this happens to a lot of musicians too. Like when you're first starting, like you really don't quite understand what it takes to write a song, to write a hit song, to even like write like real structures, like there's definitely, you see bands out on the scene brand new and you're like, they have not figured it out yet, and we were
like,
the
what
same
are you
way.
even doing right now?
we had it was a lot of figuring out, a lot of error, a lot of sucking, like really bad ideas coming out of us being like, no, this is great. And then you're like, no, that was so awful. I cannot believe I actually recorded that.
You're like, and we released it? Yeah, there's shit out there that we released where I'm like, oh God, that's terrible. That's so bad.
But that's what's great. You can take it off. You can remove it.
Right. That is true.
I finally did for our first EP. I was like, sad to see y'all go, but really do not want people listening to this stuff anymore. Farewell.
So was it the trial and error of it? Was it something, did you guys like just sit down and start referencing tracks to like understand structure, or was it the producer himself?
It definitely took like, okay, here's one of our favorite songs. How did they break it down? Like, what did they do to create this hit song? Okay, so this is what we need to do. This is this count here. This is how this count goes. And yeah, pretty much. And yeah, obviously having a producer like Tom come in where he's professional. And again, we both were so lost in the sea of how to record a song at the beginning. No clue. Like didn't even know how to properly sing into a mic. Live singing and recording singing are 2 very, very different things. Like where you put your voice, how you hit things. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just very, very, so beginner, so basic, both of us. And, we've been doing it for so long now. Now I'm like, oh, we're freaking pros. Like we know how to do this stuff. No prob, easy peasy. But yeah, you got to start somewhere. And usually you got to start from a very sucky place.
I think it was Sound City, the documentary with Dave Grohl, and everywhere he talked about that, where he's like, it's a bunch of 18-year-olds getting in a garage and being really shitty at music. And you just got to bang that shit out and figure it out,
Yeah.
And it is, I think producers though, so it's funny, we're moving into self-producing, but I don't think I would have any confidence to do this without working with producers for the last 10 years.
Yeah. Exactly.
And because the first time we brought in a producer, like we knew we needed guidance. We were kind of in that like what is this thing we're doing?
Mhm.
Like we were throwing funk and rock and soul and like all this weird everything and blending it up. And it was, we sent him some tracks. He gives us a call. He's like, this is really cool. This is really cool. I don't understand why you guys are doing this thing in the bridge. And we had this time change. We thought it was really cool because we were fancy, you know, all that kind of thing. And he's like, I think if you did XYZ, it would be better. And I said to him, I said, no, I think you're wrong. And I said, but we have a rule in the band that we'll try an idea before we rule it out, even if we think it sucks. And so we tried it. And the first time we tried it, we were all like, shit, he was way right. You know, and then over the years, he kind of, and, you know, to this day, still gives me tips as we're moving into self-production. I learned so much. And I'm curious for you, he says, Tom, what's his last name?
Tom Chandler.
Tom Chandler. As you've been working with Tom, what are some of those things that you feel like as a producer he brought to the table and that you guys are learning?
Yeah, it was exactly what you said. Exactly the same. Where at first you'd be like, "So here's our bridge, or here's our chorus," and he's like, "This isn't a chorus, or this isn't a bridge. Here's what it should be," and you're like, "No, you're wrong. This is my music.
Of
How
course.
dare you
How
question my
dare you?
ideas, sir?" And it's very much letting go of ego. And I try to explain that to a lot of friends too, that clearly like record on their own. And I'm like, it's all about letting go of ego and just letting someone else come in and actually help. And because usually the help is accurate and actually knows what they're talking about and coming from experience. So Tom was very much like, here's how it should be. We were like, yep, okay, great, let's do that. And then of course that would always be the song, and it would be what sold the song and what people were like, oh yeah, that song's great.
Like, oh, that popped. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I've always had an ear for growing up. I had two younger sisters. So my world was so different musically. So the pop world was very front and center in my house too. Like we had the prog rock going on because of my dad. My mom was into the grunge and the harder rock, and then my sisters were Britney Spears Spice Girls. So it was like this whole world. So it was very like, you did kind of understand what a pop hit was and how to, the singing along to the pop was obviously the most favorable, especially as a female. So I did always go in knowing how to like create pop melodies in a way, like ones that I knew people could sing along to. So that was always there. Even when it sucked, it was always there. And it was just about the years getting it better and figuring out exactly how to write that catchy hook where people want to sing along.
The reps and the craft of it as you're going. Now, with your sisters being a Britney Spears and all that, being a female singer as well, like obviously it sounds like you love rock. Did you ever feel pressure to like be more in the pop realm? Or were you always just like, no, I live in the rock world?
I always wanted to sing rock. I always wanted to be a rock singer. That was always where my voice thrived. So for me, it was always about your rock. I mean, I grew up doing musical theater. I went to UC Irvine and I studied opera. So
Wow.
I've
Okay.
sang all these different kinds of singing techniques. But for me, the funnest is the rock, which is also the one that destroys your voice the most.
I actually have my degree in voice, and I had to study opera as well. So that's funny. That's
Yeah.
great when I get to meet folks who walk that journey. My professor actually told me I came in, my voice was just fucked from like a 3-4 hour gig or whatever, you know. And he was like, I won't teach you if you don't quit your band, kind of thing. And he wanted me to dedicate 2 years to opera. And of course, I told him no, that wasn't going to work. But we eventually figured it out. Like he eventually kept me on. But man, those techniques I learned from him, he basically told me, he's like, I'm going to strip your voice down. Like we're stripping all the dumb things you're doing to the very core of like your actual real voice, and then learn to build you up. And then he actually started getting excited about how do we apply it and make it sound rock, which became fun after about a year when he realized I was going to do the work. So you studying opera, doing that, what are some of the things you took away from studying opera and then moving
Exactly
to
what you said. And I find a lot of professional rock singers do have an opera background. And and those are the ones that you can hear like are singing the rock, but there's like a power behind their rock, and they're hitting those big notes. And for me, learning the proper breathing technique where the support that you need, I think helps a lot. It also, like as a screamer, you got to learn how to put it in the right place where you're not damaging the vocal cords, when they're doing that to create that scream, that roughness. And so definitely though studying opera and voice lessons since I was 13 were a great way to create that base foundation for proper singing. So now I can sing 3 to 4 hours, no problem. And I usually will walk away pretty fine. Like the only show that pretty kills my voice a lot, and for a good reason, is my new metal cover band. Because
Is it a lot of like
every song, yeah. And since it's such a male dominated field, it's low and it's scratchy and it's a lot of screaming. So that after those, I'm usually like, okay, we're fine. But like the
next
damage
morning
is
you're
not
like,
enough
hey,
to where I
everybody.
lose my voice or I can't speak the next day. Because I do know how to do it properly. It's just,
right.
There's always going to be some kind of small damage when you're putting a grit on your voice. There's nothing you can do about it.
Because like that's the nature of what that grit is that damage, unfortunately.
Yeah. Sad. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's switching to in-ears helped me a ton as well. Like even I do a ton of solo performing here in town, just acoustic stuff without my band. I even just do in-ears, even just for me and acoustic guitar. Like people are like, why do you bring all this shit? Like I was like, cause I can hear everything and I don't have to yell. I don't have to
push,
fight the crowd or whatever.
Yes, having this modern world, obviously when we started, in-ears was not a thing at all.
Right.
So, and venues wouldn't even know what to do when you did bring your in-ear set. Because I got my in-ears a while ago and I was like, okay, let's try this. And any venue I'd go to, they'd be like, we don't know what to do with this. I'm like, okay. So you never use them. And yeah, it was a lot of, especially as a female vocalist, it's so hard to hear females because of everything they make so loud. The drums and the bass just take over. And, as a female vocalist where you're singing more up here, oh, sorry, that's the Boo Boo Bear.
He's doing his vocal warm-ups.
Yeah, he is. That's where I get my growl from. But, it would be hard to hear. So I would always be pushing on stage to try to hear myself. And that was always bad. You'd always go off key. I'd lose my power. I'd lose my voice. And you're like, God, there's got to be a better way. And now, yeah, in-ears for every performance I do for Plastic Rhino. What a lifesaver. Such a night and day experience.
Well, and it's funny because, like you said, when I started playing, it was even when our band first started touring, it was all wedges, all this stuff. Which I remember one reason I remember when we switched to in-ears was our van was completely like clear, like we didn't have to bring all these extra speakers. I was like, oh my god, look at all this room, so much space for activities, but yeah, it just changed the game. Where now I'm like, rarely will I. Like every once in a while, depending if it's a really small venue or something, with my acoustic and I could put the speaker right behind me, I might not use my in-ears. But I was just like, if we're just doing it and you guys got to figure out how to fucking, and we drop in our box, do the split snake, everything. And most places now though, I feel like are ready for it. Is that your experience out there now too?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I still find that like the sound is never quite what you want in your in-ears. Like you always do a sound check and you're like, this is great. And then you start singing live and something happened and it switched and you're like, cool. So I usually do one in, one out.
Right.
So I'm like hearing the live sound and I've got the in-ear. So like, at least like I can hear myself enough where I'm like, okay, here's my key. Here's where I need to sing. And then the one out where it's like, here's the live band
room
experience.
Vibe.
Yeah.
Well, and we started adding a room mic to our in-ears so it can give you that full room feel, which became kind of a game changer. And then do you guys do your own board or like with a split snake out, or are you guys just having them mixed directly to your in-ears?
Yeah, usually I just have them mixed directly to the in-ears. Yeah.
And we did that for like a few years. And we just probably about a year and a half ago, we got a box now where we have our own board that we've done all the gain structure. We've dialed that all in. And now we just send them the split snake so they can do whatever they want. And it doesn't mess with our ears at all. We control it. Oh my God.
That's definitely
That's
the future.
been
Like I've
fucking
been
awesome.
seeing a lot of bands, yeah, do that. And my husband's in Jack's in a couple other bands, and they do that. Like they're all in ears, and they
That's
have their
awesome.
own board, and everything is in the ears. And I'm like, this is the future, and you do sound really great
Yeah,
having that.
it was a game changer. But yeah, it took us
Yeah,
a while to be able to get to that. I would like
yeah,
dream about it. I'm like,
yeah.
one day we're gonna
I think we definitely could get there, and since we're already using tracks, and for our newer songs, we're doing track background backing tracks. So it definitely, we're gonna probably eventually get to this point where the whole band's gonna be in ears, and we'll have that
be
mixed board.
awesome.
I'm
Now I'm
sure.
curious. Well, go
Sorry,
ahead.
what were you gonna
Sorry
say?
about
Oh, I
I
was just
cut
gonna
you off.
say.
We're
I was
just
just
gonna
gonna
cut each
say.
other.
I'm sure the sound in my in ears will be so much better having
Oh
that
yeah.
set up.
But even
Yeah,
then, I remember the days of having them go direct in, and it still was night and day from having to mess with wedges.
yeah.
So
Night and
yeah,
day. Still
it
never
was
knew what you were
amazing.
gonna get though. Like I just recently used them, and the sound guy forgot to, like, he had the in ears mixed really nicely, but he just forgot his mic was super loud. So he starts talking, and I'm like,
So
oh
he's
my
got the
God.
talk back mic on. You're like, bro.
I'm like, okay, I'm deaf. Thank
At least he
you.
wasn't talking shit about you guys. Like that would have been even more awkward.
Yeah, right.
Well, and I was curious. So you said you're using tracks because we use tracks a lot. So we have a 5-piece band, but our production, there's a bunch of layers. So and like our keyboardist, he can only play 2 keyboards at a time. And sometimes we have like 5 keyboard parts going.
Yeah.
Um, but like, so in our world in Kansas City, Midwest, there's a lot of people who look down on that. I personally don't give a fuck that they look down on it because
Interesting.
like it's what the product I want to create. This is
Yeah.
how I want to do it. It's
Yeah.
great. I'm curious for you guys out there, is there that same mentality or is it just like people are like, no, that's what you do. You're in a band and you play with tracks.
Yeah, in LA here, that's the new norm, and
Nice.
everyone's switching over to it, and it really is like every band that does that just sounds amazing live. Luckily, a lot of venues out here are fully adaptable now to it. The Whiskey, Viper Room, and we have a new place, 3 Clubs, where you kind of almost want to play those venues that can accept it. You really don't want to go to the bar where you're in the corner and there's none of that, and you're just like
You
can't
got
hear a
some guy in the
thing.
back just staring at you. It's like,
Yeah,
quit
wish us
judging me.
luck. And it's
Don't
just a
judge me.
wall of sound. Yeah. So for LA is definitely like, oh no, we have to sound good because this is like where it's at.
And I'm seeing people like open up more to it. But I remember having conversations with people when they found out we were just doing a click track. They were like, and they're like, oh my God. And I was like, I'm sorry. I literally looked at the guy as he's a friend of mine. I was like, I'm sorry, you guys want to suck. So you don't want to use a click. He was like, oh shit, shots fired. But I was like, I've had sound guys tell me like, I love when you guys play because like, it's literally easier to mix a band that's on a click track.
Yeah. Oh
Like
yeah.
just click track alone, and then you add in all the other layers. Yeah, so that's cool. It's cool to hear that that's how it is. And I do see more and more bands opening up to it here in the Midwest. I think probably as they tour and start seeing different parts of the country, and they're like, oh, "This is cool. This is what you do," And we call it the
Because like,
robot.
you only get one shot to sell your band, right? And
Yeah,
you never know who's in the room. If you're sucking, there goes your shot. So you just always have to be on it. You always have to make sure that that is the performance that you wanted to give, and having all these extra tools and being on that level, you're always going to be great. Like even if there's a mess up somewhere, most people aren't going to notice it because you didn't get off the click track, the drummer's on it, so the song's on, so the beat's not moving fast or slowing down. You're not having any of those issues. Like you said, your in-ear mix is always going to be pro. So even if like out in the audience they can't quite hear every element, you're on it, you hear it, and you know that it sounds
mhm.
good.
And I think they feel it too. Like there's sometimes where talking to another sound engineer, where he's like, "There's some things that they may not hear it, but if you took it away, someone would be like, oh, where did that like lower arpeggiated like synth thing go?" They wouldn't say
Yeah,
it that way, but they're just like, oh, something's weird. What
because
happened
it's
there?
in fill out the band. Like, you sound
Yeah.
fuller with all of those elements. Even if the audience has no idea that they're there, it does just sound like a fuller band, to like an experience of, seeing a professional band live. So you're like, this sounds great. This is like right where like I usually hear bands perform. I love this band. And they have no idea why. They have no idea that it's
Preach, sister. I love
yeah,
it.
that it's all the little tracky tracks that you don't even know are there, you know, spilling it out.
That's awesome. It's fun to hear that. I love when other people like see how important that is and live that out, because it really does make, and like I think you had mentioned too, is just like no matter what, it's going to sound good. It's like, because it's just when you start touring, when you're out there, you're doing show after show, like out there in LA, it's like some nights you feel like shit. Some nights you maybe had a fight with somebody before you got on stage, whatever it is, or you might have had too much caffeine, you're fucking hyped up, like whatever it is, that could cause the show to not go well. It could cause you to drag a song, or it could cause you to rush a song, like all these things. But instead, we call it Siri or the robot, and we have Siri saying verse 2, 3, 4, and then click chorus 2, 3, and just letting you know like this is the show, and it's on. Like I said, because you're creating a product now to connect with the audience at that point, you know. But
and don't you find too, having all of that, you can actually perform better? Because
you're free.
You're not thinking about any of that other stuff. That's all there. And now you can actually just put on the best show of your life as a performer. Yeah. And if you still stand there bored as fuck, then that's on you, bro. I better be seeing you twirling that guitar in the air, you know?
I love it. It's like, you had all that and you still suck, bro.
Yeah. Wow, bro.
You need to go into insurance or something. I don't know what's going on. I love it. Oh man. Yeah. I could talk about that probably for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like, and I feel like I have to like carry that mantle a lot, like out here. But again, I see more and more bands starting to do it. And predominantly it's the touring bands, where the ones who are actually going out and like doing national or international tours. And I think they just see like, night after night, make it consistent, make it great. As far as like the writing and performing everything together, you got new songs, just signed with this agency, right? This past week, looking to tour. What is the vision? What's the vision for the next year, 2 years? What, in your perfect world, what does it look like for you guys?
Just that we finally get like a decent break where you're just on a for me, every song is like, did we get to the next level? Did we get out there more? Did more people find us? Did we get a new fan base? Are our numbers growing? Are things rising up? And obviously now there's all these tools to help you get out there. Whereas when I started, there wasn't like pay Google ads. You can do Instagram ads, you know, to help get you out there more. Like you were literally just stuck with the people that followed you, and you tried to play shows and get more fans, and it just, nothing really moved. And now you have all these tools to help you gain more fans, to help spread your music around more. So for me, each song is like, did we get higher? Did we climb another step where we were found by more humans on this planet that would like our kind of music? So that's just, that's the goal. And every time that like we create a new EP or album, I'm like, okay, this is it. This is the end of the band. We're done. We did the best we could. We gave it everything we got. We made it here. It's over. But unfortunately,
I'll never write another good song again.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Is that kind of the...
Yeah. And then my brain is like, oh, check out this new song, Diddy, that popped up in your head. And I'm like, damn it. All right, we're going back in the studio and doing it all over again, because we got some new songs that maybe will take us to the next level. And I don't know what it is, if it's just the drive, if it's the ego, you know, like if we just, that's in our DNA. We're just meant to be musicians forever and ever and ever, obviously with a day job, but you know, nighttime musicians, daytime, regular work. Because who can really live these days? I mean, in LA, you cannot live as just a musician. Like it's so.
Yeah, we were looking at potentially moving to California. And when I did a solo tour out there, the one I was telling you about, where I like figured out it was 2 hours ago, 20 miles. And we had looked in, it was Santa Clarita. I had gone up, and I was headed up to Portland at a show up there. But I stopped in to Santa Clarita. It was like checking things out, because we were like, the houses are sort of affordable.
Sort of, yeah.
Compared
yes.
to everywhere else.
Yes.
I can only imagine what they are now because this was literally right before COVID hit. Like I came back and then COVID hit. So I can only imagine how crazy those prices are. But then when we realized, I was like, I ended my tour in like Denver, Fort Collins out there. And my friend there had like $350,000 home that was like, looked like a mansion to me. I was like, oh my God. I was like, this would, like, I don't think we can move to California. I can't afford it unless we like really make it big. Like, yeah. So you're hardcore. You're hardcore living it out.
Yeah. No one can afford homes here. We all rent. So
y'all live in Escalades.
We all live in Escalades. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
no house.
I was doing really well in the film industry, but the strike unfortunately has caused a big mess of things.
Oh, really?
And, it hasn't quite recovered in the past year. So jobs just aren't what they were, sadly,
Gotcha.
in the film industry. So LA
you're seeing a lag from that.
Yeah,
still.
LA is really going through a bad time right now. And a lot of people are leaving. Like a lot of people are bouncing. And I get it. It's a very expensive city and there's not any income coming in right now. So I'm hoping things turn around, but might be moving to Texas.
That's no lie. My wife was looking
how's
at
Missouri.
It's actually, there's a lot of people moving from California to where I'm at, Kansas City, because there is this arts community and arts hub here, and it's still slightly affordable. It really is. It's funny because we sold our house right before COVID to pay off debt because the prices were going like sky high, right? So we're like, let's make some money, pay off some shit. Well, I was like, and then the prices will come back down and we can buy back in. And we're still renting because I was like, these houses are so damn expensive still because but compared to like out there, it probably looks pretty inexpensive to live here. And Texas is wild. You can live like a cartel, like the leader of a cartel in Texas for like $350,000 a year if you wanted to.
And here's the funniest part too, is like you're looking at all these homes, small 2-bedroom, 2-bath homes, or 2-bedroom, even 1-bath home, pretty decent sized lots around where we live, North Hollywood, Burbank. And you're like, oh, I found one for under $1 million. I found one for under $1 million. Oh my God, we should go check it out. And I'm like, dude, you don't have $999,000.
We could find it somewhere.
What are we doing? Yeah. Like you get into this weird mental place where you're like, ooh, $850,000 home. And you're like, no, what? Like, no.
But it'd be amazing. Yeah. It will be interesting, the shifts. That's my guess. Previously, he lives in Italy.
Okay.
Madonna, Italy. And we were talking about that because he's observing from afar what's happening here in the US. And then I was just sharing with him, like, everything seems so unsettled. And so it's interesting that I've heard about LA being kind of unsettled. It's interesting to hear your perspective there. It seems like there's shifts happening everywhere. And I don't think anyone really knows at this point where it's going.
Yeah.
I feel like there's got to be opportunities in there. That's where I hear you talking about like all these tools that we have where it's like there's amazing things in there. But it is an interesting, volatile, and sometimes scary time.
It is. Especially to be an artist or a creative. It's a very risque move than just, working a 9-to-5 desk job is, I almost regret getting a Bachelor of Arts in opera and like, why didn't I get my business career? Cause like I could have that steady 9-to-5 and then I could still be a musician and I would be, like have a good ground base to carry my musicianship, and having 2 creative jobs is, at first it was fine. And now it's like not fine. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I'm a degree in music. I'm like, I've done a lot of shitty jobs along the way where it's like, sometimes I just want to stand up. It's like, but I can sing really good. Okay, guy, like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're like, oh, great. Okay. Well, I'll join some cover bands. And even that out here is, the competition is insane.
It's steep.
To play live and get paid. It's out of control. So, we do have a bunch of cover bands projects that both Jack and I do, and it does help, but again, doesn't pay the bills. No. Yeah.
And that's where I make a bulk of my living, is doing like cover gigs. I do have some solo that I can do a mixture of original and stuff depending on the vibe or the venue. And I play in a wedding band. I'm actually on the road with a wedding band this weekend, and then Run With It's finally, my band's finally getting to a point where we are booking some good money gigs as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of this hodgepodge of I think as an artist, I'm just coming to a point where I'm realizing even the biggest artists out there, when you really talk to them, you find out they also are investing in like a car wash and they have real estate.
Yeah.
And then they're,
Alcohol companies seems
yeah,
to be a
like
big
they're,
one.
yeah. So it's like, I think I used to always be angry, but I think it's honestly within the last week or two, I'm realizing like, damn, even like the upper echelons, they have multiple things going because
Yeah.
we have a commercial cleaning company, my wife and I as well,
Okay.
that, and it kind of frees up time to do more of the writing and all those things.
Yeah.
And I think I always was frustrated by it, but I think I don't know if I'm just, I hope I'm not just resigning to it, but it feels like, damn, I guess everyone's just kind of piecing this thing together.
Yeah,
But
when
I
when
do,
you when you sit there and you break down and you talk to like people that are like professional musicians or touring musicians or whatever, people that you think are actually like succeeding, and you really talk to them and you're like, no, everyone's like scrapping around doing the most random odd jobs in between tours or gigs because that money doesn't last. It doesn't sit there and you're like, I mean, you might have a really good tour and you're like, okay, I've got a couple saved away. I'll be good for a couple months, and then you're like, I'm driving Uber, I'm Instacarting,
right.
I'm working at Target at night. Everyone's doing something that's obviously not part of the plan, but it's like part of what keeps you going to be a creative. So you can be a creative, and I'm learning that too. And especially now with the dead film industry, I'm like, I gotta figure out some other stuff I can do, you
Well,
know?
that's one piece. We just got signed to a music library where I'm going to
Okay.
be like writing for movies and films,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yep.
And I joined a community that's been that a lot of people, some of them are just getting started like us. Some of them have been doing it for a long time and they've now like, it's like they have their performer. Like there's a guy named Omega Sparks he's an incredible rapper, but he has like his performer thing that he does out of North Carolina. But then he's got a ton of placements now, in NFL and boxing and like all these kind of like hype, that would fit his style rap. And that's another piece where I'm like, okay, can we piece it together on this too and bring that in? And there's a lot of opportunities, but I am curious how even what you're sharing with the film industry, how things are shifting and changing too
But yeah, the sync area right now is pretty dead, unfortunately,
out
because
there.
we're
Yeah.
also in a bunch of libraries too, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, there's not a lot, sadly.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But hopefully, fingers crossed, things come up.
Well, and I feel like in shifts, typically there's opportunities that eventually present themselves. It's easier to say than actually live it out because sometimes it fucking hurts to live it out. But I feel like there's some really great stuff ahead. I just wish I knew exactly what it was because some days are really, really hard
Mm-hmm.
in that
And the
regard.
thing about the really great stuff ahead is like you don't want to miss it either, because sometimes it doesn't present itself as the really good thing, and you just let it go, and then you're like, oh wait, shoot, I think that might have been like the next stepping stone, and I didn't realize because it's not that grand, but it's like it's a little
It's
step,
that
and
little step.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like I think when you dream of being a musician or an actor or whatever, you think you go from zero to hero, and it's not. It's all these tiny, teeny, tiny little steps that get you there, and it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot. You put in so much of it, sweat, blood, and tears. Like most people say, it takes 10 years to even make it. And everyone wants the easy route, and I think for some people, sure, it does magically happen, but the rest of
Like
us,
they're the
we're working.
anomalies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're the
The little
anomalies.
Nas X is laying in his
Yeah,
couch and he bought a
yeah,
beat and it just fucking happened.
yeah.
Awesome for him. But
Yeah.
that really is the anomalies.
Yeah.
Like I have a
Yeah.
friend, she's in country. Her name's Cassie Joy. She was like on The Voice. I think, did she win The Voice or something? She was high up there. I can't remember at this point. It's been quite a few years.
Mhm.
And that's what we were talking about, where I told her, I was like, I'm so impressed by what she's done with her career because I've watched a lot of people think that they got that big moment on American Idol. And because of some of the tours we've done, we've gotten to meet a lot of these folks. We do a lot of showcases for like colleges and that kind of thing. And I've watched most of them fizzle out. And it's not because they weren't talented. Like they are massively talented,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
massively talented. Like we'd get on stage, we're like, oh my God, that dude can sing or that girl can sing. And she's the same way. But what she did, she kind of took this approach that you're talking about, where she like came back from it, utilizes it in her marketing, But she's like, I knew it was going to be, I still got to go to this club. I got to play this show. I still need to do this. She was doing 5-6 nights a week doing and just hustling. And now she's doing bigger tours and like billing it. She's still not a national name by any means. She's making a great living doing it. But yeah, she did an incredible job of just taking it step by step and that iterative. And I hear that in your vision, that's what I thought was interesting about your vision is that I heard those iterative like steps. It seems like that you have that huge perspective.
Small steps that are like, okay, good, we got to the next level. Let's take it up, because starting from here and trying to go there it's just not realistic. Let's be honest. In this modern day and age, the competition is out of control. There's so many bands out there. There's so many musicians out there. It really is just like, what is our next small goal that we can try to attain? What is an attainable goal that we as a band can get to? Let's try this one. And, I feel we have hit a lot of goals that I've set out for us. We've been on a Spotify editorial playlist. We've gotten Apple
That's
editorial
huge, by the way.
playlist.
Well done.
We just got played on Sirius XM. Like, these are all small steps where I'm like, yes, now what? So now it's like, what's the next goal? That's the small step that like gets us on this ladder to where, we're not trying to make it big, although that would be nice. That's not the end goal anymore. That's obviously where you start. But now you're just like, where can I get to where I'm just having fun? And I feel great about sharing my music, and we have a great fan base, and we're out there doing our thing, and we're respected musicians. That for me is making it. So
that's very cool. Well, and as we hit on like some of these harder things, the harder life of pursuing it, I used to be around a lot of folks who always wanted to like make things always ultra positive all the time, where it's like, if it's hard, you should probably stop or whatever. I'm really simplifying what they try to say. It wasn't that like bad, but I've just gravitated more and more towards the reality of like, sometimes it is just hard. And it's helped me, which is weird because I feel like every time something got really hard, I would just think, well, I must be doing something wrong. But just the reality is, it's like us, like we're all holding on to this dream and not letting it die. And sometimes that means it is going to be really hard. But for some reason that gives me peace, like where I'm just like, it sucks today.
yeah, what's
kind
that?
of thing. And I don't know why, but it's been like giving me more peace than like I used to be just tried to be too overly positive, like about everything. But I am hopeful, even though I know sometimes it's just really hard. I don't know what I'm saying at this point.
It is really hard, but that's like, there's that saying, like, life is about the journey, not the destination. So it's like, even in that moment where you're like, what am I doing in my life? It is so hard today. I am really just not having a good day. That's part of your journey. That hard day is part of that journey that's taking you to that next place you want to be. Like, you're never maybe even going to ever get to that destination. So just enjoy the journey, even the great moments, the moments of, we did it, we had a great show, we had a great success. And then the next day, something awesome's going to happen. You're like, well, this is just the balance between that really great high, and now we're in this really low place. And a lot of people give up, a lot of people give up on this dream. A lot of people try it, and then a lot of people give up because they realize how hard it is. And I think we're the masochists that enjoy the pain. So,
it's true.
Yeah. Like,
and that is something I've been thinking about too, is like, there's days where it's just because of us doing the production and trying to break into this licensing world. Like, I have a lot of late nights, early mornings, all these things. And there's some days I have thought, like you said, it's like, this moment is when someone else usually gives up. But like, the special thing really is like pushing through this moment, and then you find something else. And those are some of the things. That's a good point. And it makes those big highs even better, I think, because you're like, yeah, we fucking did that.
Yeah.
That's
That's all your hard work, all the years of struggle in that moment.
Yeah.
And you're like, hell yeah, I did that. And then, obviously, like, even your friend, she made it to The Voice finalist or winner, whatever. She had such a huge high on such a big platform, right? You would think that would be able to carry her over. And like you said, nah, she then got back and was like, I got to work on this now, and I have to keep this going.
She had to work her ass off. Still does today.
And I think most people are like, I made it. And then they don't realize,
I'm here, America.
yeah, you got to work. And that's why they all disappear. Like so many of them just disappear. And you're like, what happened to this person and this person?
Yeah. No, it's good. I know we're a little over time. I had 3 questions if you still have the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. This conversation, and thank you for your vulnerability in that. And you're hitting on a lot of things that I feel like I personally am wrestling through and constantly challenged on. So it was good riffing on all of those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, just 3 more questions. One of them is you had mentioned Jack's your husband.
Mhm.
Okay. So a lot of times when couples, so Cassie, my friend, her husband is her manager. And
Okay.
so it was great just to hear about their dynamics. I'm curious, what do you guys do? Like, or what tools do you guys utilize to separate, like, okay, this is us married, this is us in our business and in our band. What tools have you guys had to develop to do that?
Actually taking time to like have a date night that has nothing to do with music because our lives is so intertwined and so much is based around music, which we love. We love being in the music scene. We love going to the shows. I love supporting him. He supports me like in all our different endeavors. But it is also just about like being like, okay, we need to be a married couple and we need to go do something super random. So like the other night we went and played trivia together and it was great. And it was like our super random thing, like definitely trying to find that balance. I say trying. We're still learning how to navigate it. But yeah, just being a married couple and then also being each other's best friends and supporters in everything that we do. But it is honestly nice having that love in the relationship and in the music relationship because um, they're your number one fan, you're their number one fan, and they're always there, like with you, experiencing these moments with you, which is super fun and really
That
cool
is
to
cool.
share.
Especially I imagine when it comes to touring and stuff, because I literally love everything about touring except for being away from my family. Like there was 2 years where I saw my bandmates more than my wife and my kids, and it's just part of the game, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, that's a pretty beautiful thing that you guys can do that, like seeing Cassie, her husband goes on the road. They actually sold their house and they're on a tour bus now, and that's just all they do, and so they're with each other and able to support each other
Yeah.
in that. That's cool that you guys have like built that and then protect it because it seems like that's hard. So you guys can't even go to like for date night. You can't go check out somebody else's show. Like
We
it's
do
like we
that a
need to
lot
go do it.
too.
Oh, you do? Okay. I didn't
Yeah,
know
we
if
do
you're like,
that a
we
lot
can't
too.
make it work at all. Like we're going to a winery tonight. Like I don't know.
But yeah, it's definitely like sometimes it's like, let's do something not music related because our lives are so music related. So it's definitely finding that balance.
That's awesome. Well, last 2 questions. It's off the podcast title, Live and Create. So right now, how would you define living a great life?
I mean, as hard as this life has been and as hard as we've touched on it, I do feel like I am living my best life. I am living the life that I am supposed to live. Like, would it be nice to be richer? Sure. Would it be nice to have more stability? Absolutely. But I'm living the life that I always dreamt I wanted to live and I'm doing it. And I have to remember that sometimes because, obviously you see yourself a lot more successful than you actually are. But again, it's like, no, you are a musician. You're a professional singer. You're living your best life. Like you have great gigs. You have moments where you're big moments where you're like, yes, this is a great step in my career. And then you have the most soul crushing moments ever where you're like, what am I even doing? Why am I even trying to be this person? So many people are out there actually doing it. And it's never a competition. You're always on your own path. You got to live what you want to do. Like, and you got to figure out how to support it. But don't work that 9 to 5 job if you're an artistic person. Like, be an artist and figure out how to be an artist. Like, if you love that data entry job and that's your life and that's what you love to do, obviously you find the hobbies that you do outside of it. You're living a great life too. Nothing wrong with that. Everybody's got to find what makes them happy and what keeps them wanting to live. I do feel like I am living my best life.
Awesome. That's really cool. Especially, to know that as you shared, like the hardships of it, but then to be able to like, no, this is the life
Hmm.
that I chose,
Yeah.
and that intentionality of it. That's cool. I love it. Last question. Right now, how would you define creating great things?
Just trying, going for it, sucking at it, like you guys try to make a funny music video. even if it comes out sucky.
Okay, we're
Go
going to do
for
it.
it.
We're going to do it. It might be total ass,
It
but
might be total ass, or it might be the greatest thing to ever come out. You never know until you try, right? It's all about trying. Like if I wanted to be an artist, like to draw, oh, I already know I suck, but I love adult coloring. I love it. I love to adult color. Like, just be creative, be artistic, even if you aren't, even if the society as a whole hasn't given you that title, you can still be it.
awesome. I love it. Yeah, I'll let you know if we get that video going. Well, I am inspired. Thank you for this conversation. It definitely hits on areas of my life right now that we're going through, as we continue to push forward. Yeah, inspired and feel some good hope in the midst of everything. So that's awesome. Let folks know how they can connect with your band, how they can connect with your music and connect with you.
Instagram's probably the best way. Follow us on Instagram, Plastic Rhino Band. We have a Facebook, Plastic Rhino. Follow us on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer. Oh my God, we're on all of them. Pandora, TikTok. We even have a TikTok.
That's a whole other podcast, right?
Plastic Rhino Band. Yeah. I try. I really do. A website, YouTube, Plastic Rhino Band. Yeah, we're everywhere. So find us, follow us.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for making the time.
Thank you. It's been great. Great talking with you.
Thank you for listening to the Live and Create podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe and leave a comment or a review.
The Live and Create podcast.